Today in the goddamn news, we're gonna be reporting on this long brewing shitstorm that's been going on between ICE agents from the Federal Department of Homeland Security and the people of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And though this news station leads to the political right on most things of substance, we also owe a sense of duty to tell the truth and speak out on the laws that govern our asses, even when that truth might not be what a motherfucker wants to hear. So today, we're gonna talk about the legal truths behind the actions of ICE and the citizens of Minneapolis. Because in an unpolitically biased view, the agents of ICE are wrong as two left shoes. And the leadership behind this Minneapolis clusterfuck should have their stupid asses transferred someplace where they can do the laws and Constitution no more harm than what has already occurred. Legal experts are now rightfully questioning whether actions by ICE is operating within city limits comports with both federal and state statutory boundaries. So let me break it down to you in good old 5th grade civics fashion. Minneapolis has a separation ordinance, codified in Chapter 19.30 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances, establishing strict limits on the role of local law enforcement assistants in federal civil immigration matters. The ordinance expressly forbids Minneapolis police officers from inquiring about immigration status, which means no status inquiries, assisting federal authorities in civil detentions related to immigration law, which means no ICE enforcement assistance, or allowing city property to be used in immigration enforcement operations. The city calls it protection of public spaces. So public safety employees' involvement in federal immigration enforcement must be reported to the mayor and city council, demonstrating the city's commitment to maintaining local sovereignty and community trust. At the state level, Minnesota law addresses the conditions under which federal officers may lawfully exercise arrest powers within state borders. Under the law, Section 626.77 outlines that federal law enforcement officers, including those under the Department of Homeland Security, may act with arrest authority only when a Minnesota peace officer has formally requested assistance, and the federal agent operates under that officer's direction while in Minnesota. But ICE haven't gotten one goddamn cop in Minneapolis to ask them for a motherfucking thing. So in the absence of interagency authorization, questions about the statutory legitimacy of ICE's independent operations within the state are rightfully being raised. Now, the federal authority for ICE operations largely arises from 8 U.S.C. subparagraph 1357, which governs the powers of federal immigration officers. In that section of the law, it specifically states that ICE agents may arrest any alien who in his presence or view is entering or attempting to enter the United States in violation of any law or regulation. But the statute under A2 don't say a goddamn thing about a fucking illegal aliens who, through the corrupt and stupid decisions of the Biden-Harris administration, opened the goddamn gates and allowed millions of these undocumented assholes to steamroll the interior of states like Minnesota. Then subsection A3, meanwhile, authorizes warrantless searches within a reasonable distance from any external boundary of the United States, a limit defined by federal regulation 8 CFR section 287.1 as 100 miles. Minneapolis is located approximately 300 miles from the nearest international border and lies well outside of this federal immigration enforcement zone. As a result, ICE's administrative or enforcement actions in Minneapolis are breaking the fucking law. The U.S. Constitution establishes federal supremacy in immigration matters under the Supremacy Clause. Yet it also reserves police powers and internal sovereignty to the states under the 10th Amendment. And this don't have a goddamn thing to do with whether or not you like and support President Trump. Right is right and wrong is wrong. ICE's operations must still conform to procedural and jurisdictional boundaries. So unless President Trump does things the legal way by invoking the Insurrection Act in the city of Minneapolis or make a federal takeover declaration of Minneapolis, then ICE is breaking the goddamn law. Absent a formal request under Minnesota Statute 626.77 or a clear federal judicial ruling, ICE's operations in Minneapolis is fucking illegal as hell and exposes a fundamental tension between federal immigration powers and the sovereign rights of states and municipalities.
In closing, I want to bring your attention to the historical advice of former U.S. Supreme Court Justice Louis Brandeis, where in 1928 he said, "If the government becomes a lawbreaker, it breeds contempt for law. It invites every man to become a law unto himself. It invites anarchy." And this is exactly the results of the goddamn shitstorm in the city of Minneapolis. So until next time, unbiased truth like morning sunshine is the best form of disinfectant. And this is your goddamn unfiltered news.